In Afghanistan, the Taliban say they're now in full control of the entire country after seizing the Panjshir Valley in the last area of armed resistance. The Taliban have released a video of their flag being raised in the centre of the provincial capital. The leader of the resistance fighters has called for a national uprising against the Taliban.
A white flag of victory, the Taliban flag, the centre of the scenic Panjshir Valley. This last redoubt of armed opposition, now claimed by the Taliban. God is great, their fighters cry. In Kabul today, the Taliban spokesman had a message for the enemy.
We have captured Panjshir with the will of God. We are telling those people who still want to fight, if they want a normal life, they are welcome in Afghanistan, their home. But they need to stop fueling instability.
A defiant reply on social media. 32-year-old Commander Ahmed Massoud vows to continue the resistance. He says his men are still in Panjshir Valley and urges Afghans to rise up.
One week after the Taliban announced that women would still be allowed to attend university, the framework of how that will be made possible was announced. As Afghanistan's private universities prepared to open on Monday, female students faced a plethora of new rules to abide by. Firstly, women must now wear a floor-length abaya and niqab that leaves only the eyes visible, and men and women must use different entrances and exits. Classes also have to be separated by sex, or at least divided by a curtain. Their professors must be female too, but if that isn't possible, then old men of good standing could fill in. Their lessons will also be shorter than those for men. The women must now leave their lectures 5 minutes before male students and be held in a waiting room until all men have left the building, this to discourage mingling outside.
For 7 years, they have been searching for closure and justice. Now, at a court in The Hague, relatives of 298 people who died on Malaysian Airlines flight MH17 are speaking out. Flight MH17 was on its way from Amsterdam to Kuala Lumpur when it crashed in territory held by pro-Russian separatists fighting against Ukrainian forces in July 2014. International investigators concluded almost immediately that the plane was shot down by a missile. But it was only in May 2018 that they had enough evidence to say the culprit was Russia's 53rd Anti-Aircraft Missile Brigade. The Dutch government has since said Moscow is responsible, but Russia has denied any involvement and blocked attempts to bring the case to an international UN court.
"20 years after the 9/11 attacks, there has never been a trial for those accused of planning it. After proceedings paused for more than a year due to the coronavirus pandemic, pretrial hearings set to resume Wednesday. 15 years ago, more than a dozen high-value detainees arrived at Gitmo from CIA black sites around the world, including accused 9/11 mastermind Khalid Sheikh Mohammed, also known by his initials, KSM. Then President Bush announced their arrival.
"It is invaluable to America and to our allies. Were it not for this program, our intelligence community believes that al-Qaeda and its allies would have succeeded in launching another attack against the American homeland."
The attorney for KSM's nephew, another Gitmo detainee, accused of wiring $125,000 to the 9/11 hijackers from the United Arab Emirates, tells Fox News his client was tortured.
He's revved up the crowds before. Jair Bolsonaro has never shied away from rallying his most ardent fans, like here in Rio last May. Openly nostalgic of Brazil's military dictatorship, President Bolsonaro has also of late reminded the country of his ties to the military, hosting an unprecedented procession of tanks on August 10th. A flexing of military might, a show of his avid fan base, Bolsonaro has launched an offensive. For polls show that 60% of voters would, under no circumstances, vote for him again in next year's elections. And his presidency has been hit hard by a raft of judicial investigations, including Supreme Court probes, ones that the far-right leader shot back against last week, calling for his supporters to rally and to issue what he calls an ultimatum to the Supreme Court.
Tonight, the desperate scene unfolding at a Colorado amusement park.
Glenwood Caverns for a party that fell out of the shaft ride.
A 6-year-old girl fatally injured while riding this attraction that plunges 110 feet inside a mountain.
The party's at the bottom of the shaft now. We're still trying to get further.
We're about to go down the mine shaft.
But first responders unable to save her life.
We're calling the coroner now.
Glenwood Caverns Adventure Park posting this video of the haunted mine drop just after it opened. USA Today naming it their best new amusement park attraction of 2017. The small family-owned park promoting the ride is the first drop ride in the world to go underground in what feels like a free fall.
Known for its healthcare system in Latin America, Cuba has now become the first country in the world to vaccinate children as young as 2 years old. The vaccines, however, are homegrown and have not been recognized yet by the World Health Organization. Clinical trials on minors were conducted on Friday, and vaccines for the toddlers were distributed on Monday. With a population of around 11 million people, Cuba hopes to vaccinate all the children before school reopens.
Saadi Gaddafi, son of Libya's late Muammar Gaddafi, has been freed from jail, a Justice Ministry source confirmed on Sunday. Several media reports on Sunday also suggested Gaddafi had already taken a flight to Turkey. He was free to stay in the country or leave, according to another source. The 47-year-old Saadi was known for his playboy lifestyle during his father's rule. He fled to Niger following the uprising that toppled his father before being extradited back to Libya. The former professional footballer had been held in a Tripoli prison and accused of crimes committed against protesters in 2011 and of the 2005 killing of Libyan football coach Bashir al-Rayani.